Mm-mm. Something is going on. What am I talking about? Kanye West is trending. He took out a paid ad in the Wall Street Journal. I believe it's the Wall Street Journal. And in that ad, he wrote out this letter and gave this apology. Let's read it, shall we? He addresses it to those I've hurt. 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Bipolar disorders come with its own defense system, denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off, when in fact, this is a very serious debilitating disease you can die from. According to the World Health Organization and Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shortened by 10 to 15 years on average, and a 2 times to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. This is on par with several heart disease, type 1, diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help. It makes you blind, but convinced you have insight. You feel powerful, certain, unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I loved the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at times unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated toward the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall, that led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret and am deeply mortified by my actions in that state and am committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. To the Black community, which held me down through all of my highs and lows and the darkest of times, the Black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I am so sorry to have let you down. I love us. In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unstable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore. Having bipolar disorder is notable state of constant mental illness. When you go into a manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you are not in an episode, you are completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I have found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Different people speak of being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories and realize that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world that I am not bipolar, but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. My words as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regimen of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound, much-needed clarity. I am pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing, design, and other new ideas to help the world. I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. With love, Ye. I will say, it is a heartfelt and a very effective letter of apology. In his letter, I got to learn more about the disease. I got to learn more how it came about in his case, because a lot of us thought that it was tied to him losing his mother. I didn't know Kanye West was in an accident. Had no idea. But to learn that he was in that accident and his diagnosis is as a result of an untreated injury because of that, I learned a lot because of that. I will say that I was a bit disappointed in his apology towards the Black community, because what were you apologizing to the Black community for? Was it something you said? Was it something that you did? I would have loved to read him apologizing to the Black community for that slavery was a choice comment. I would have loved for him to apologize for that White Lives Matter t-shirt, because we all know that they don't care about white lives. They only said White Lives Matter to silence us from saying Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I would have loved for him to be more specific in his apology to his people. But all in all, I believe it was a moment of clarity for him. I believe that he had taken a look at his past behavior and all that he had done and said to be offensive to not only the Black community, but to the Jewish community as well. And I believe in this moment of clarity, he felt the hurt that he had caused so many other people. But I also know how Kanye works. I know when Kanye disappears and he comes back and he grabs attention and he's trending across all social media platforms, I know that he's got a project in the works. And yes, Kanye West has a project in the works. So with that said, I will watch his future actions, and that will let me know how truly sincere this apology is coming from Kanye West. I do wish him the best of luck. I hope this new regimen works out for him, and I pray nothing but happy, healthy, stable days for him from this point forward.